recipe that I could give you to make your house really smell and feel like a home when it comes to nurturing yourself and to the people that you love, it would definitely, positively be chicken stock, which is something that I call liquid gold. For the very fact that, first of all, you can use it so many different ways, whether it's in your soups, in your gravies, to simmer your rice, all sorts of things. Chicken stock is what I consider a real basic, so that you don't have to use the canned stuff. And if you can, I'm going to tell you how to use the canned stuff later so that it tastes actually like something real was in it. But first, let's make chicken stock. What you need is vegetables. The type of vegetables are the ones that are called aromatic ones, but they're not the pungent ones. They're not cruciferous. They are not cabbage or broccoli or asparagus or Brussels sprouts or any of those that have real pungent aroma. We have carrots, celery, leeks, we have some parsnips, we have yellow onions. First, before we actually make the stock, let me just talk about the vessel used to make it, which is called, very appropriately, a stock pot. And it's a tall, narrow pot, and for very good reasons, because you know that stock is simmered for a long time. And because this pot is tall, it means it's deep, so that most of the contents are under the surface. If this was a wider pot, more surface would be available to the air, so as it simmered, more evaporation would take place, and you'd have less stock, less liquid left after all that simmering. So you want a tall, narrow pot for most types of chicken stock, and I'll talk about another kind later that doesn't, but this chicken, beef, and veal, all those kinds need a tall, narrow pot. So I've got some aromatic vegetables inside. In my stock, I use raw and browned chicken pieces because they offer very different flavor and color attributes to the finished stock. So this is just a chicken that was cut in half from my butcher. And now I'm going to get my browned pieces, and I use specifically bony pieces, chicken backs and necks, and you're going to know how to get those backs and keep them in your freezer yourself when I teach you how to cut up raw chickens. But right now I'm going to show you that they're browned. These are my browned pieces. There's stuff in there for a couple of other stocks that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to put these pieces in. These are necks and backs, and you can have some gizzards in here. The thing you don't want with stock is to use the liver, because it makes your stock cloudy and a little bit bitter tasting. So all of these bony pieces, they don't make for great eating, but because the bones render gelatin, that's what gives your stock so much body. So you see all of this caramelized stuff. Don't worry about fat now. If the fat renders in the pan, it's fine. You're going to get all of that out later. And then I'm going to show you how to deglaze this pan to get all this caramelized chicken. Okay, let me just add some hot water to this. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put it right here on this stove. And just let it bubble up. That's the way, this is the deglazing process. You want to let this really, right now all of these caramelized pieces are really like stuck on. They're really clinging, which is good. That means that they're really delicious. So we need to let this bubble up so then I can add this liquid to this pot before I add cold water. And while that's happening, let's talk about the water that you add to chicken stock, which needs to be cold water. You don't want to start with hot water, because hot water has been sitting in a hot water pipe and it hasn't been exposed to oxygen. So it doesn't taste as fresh tasting. And if you're going to be going through the trouble of making your own homemade stock, you certainly want fresh tasting water. This is also, deglazing the pan is also a great way to clean your pan, because if I wasn't doing this, I'd be scrubbing in the sink. So now you see the color of this liquid. This is the reason why my stock is so deeply brown. Very rich looking and tasting. going to switch my tools here. This is a terrific tool. This is called a gravy whisk. This helps to deglaze the pan. Okay, we're just about there. I'm going to bring this over to my stock pot with vegetables and a raw bird. I'm going to put this in. All this good stuff. All this good stuff. Nothing goes to waste. It's all a delicious mouthful. Put that back over here for now. Now I'm going to add some cold water, and then I'm going to put it on the stove. Okay. Okay, so this is going to go over high heat for now. I'm going to add some parsley, some fresh thyme. So what you do is, after you've brought it to a boil, you turn it down low to a simmer, and you cover it, and you're going to cover it for about 2 to 3 hours. You want to do what's most convenient. But this is what it looks like when it's simmering. It's just beautiful. I want to just show it to you. Look at this broth. But this isn't soup. This is stock.